Testing, testing. Everybody hear me in the back row? York TV land? Looks like we're good to go. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute here. So if everybody can come in and get your very expensive reserved seat. The front row is empty here. It's within dart throwing distance. I encourage anybody to come on up. How's everybody doing today? How's Carol today? You've got a strong arm, so you can hit me with a dart from the second row. Okay, all right. Well, it is 2 o'clock, and so I think we're going to get started here. We are going to have a couple of staff speak today a little bit or be here to take some questions. Michael is going to come in a short bit here to answer some maintenance questions that people may have, and then Jake is going to come in a little bit later after that to talk about a couple of different subjects. But welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful day outside, so I appreciate you being in here today. And welcome to the August 22 edition of the management meeting. Who can believe we're more than half the way through August? I was looking at the calendar yesterday, and I'm thinking we're a lot closer to Christmas than we... It's just in the Philippines, where I lived 30 plus years of my life, Christmas season has already started. So the Christmas music's on in the stores, the Christmas decorations and all of that is on in the stores. There are people probably going around caroling already. And in the Philippines, when you go around caroling, you are fundraising. But here we are. So, before Michael gets in here, I'm just going to run through a few things, but I do want to tell everybody thank you for your patience and your understanding and your graciousness while I was away for a couple weeks on vacation. I heard it was pretty quiet around here. And I'm always glad to hear that it's quiet around here. Don't anybody disturb that understanding that I have of how it was when I was gone. But I especially want to thank my staff, who during a couple short periods when it maybe wasn't quiet, did a fabulous job of rising to the occasion and handling emergencies and other things that came up. And of course, the sprinkler head went off on the 8th floor. Maybe that wasn't quite too quiet, but I understand. I've heard from my staff and I've heard from others about my staff here of the wonderful job that they did. And nothing ever goes perfectly in a situation like that, but they did a bang-up job. And that situation is not over yet. We'll have some more time to talk about that or perhaps have some questions. But I just wanted to thank all of my staff for their hard work and their dedication in that emergency and for taking care of just the regular business from day to day. I see that Michael's come in the door here, and I'm just going to rattle off a few maintenance things that have been on my list, month after month, but just giving a little bit of an update. Then I'm going to ask Michael to come up, and he can give you some information about anything that he has and also take some questions. And Jake is going to talk about communication. He's going to talk about the distribution of fobs, so I'm not going to get into that before he gets here. I do want to let you know that the North Plaza waterproofing project is finally about ready to have a big red bow tied on it and wrapped up. I think everybody was aware that there was a very small area of delamination where the waterproofing didn't adhere properly to the concrete. That repair happened while I was gone, so my understanding is the contractor is going to be submitting an invoice for the final payment of that project soon. So it'll be good to have that in the rearview mirror. The lobby and balcony project, the Lab 23 committee will be presenting their body of work and recommendations to the board of directors tomorrow, August 20, and the contract provided by the general contractor that was chosen and approved by the board is with legal counsel and is undergoing review at this time. I'm expecting to have the initial review of that this afternoon before the meeting tomorrow takes place. The boiler replacement, Michael can answer any more questions about that, but we're kind of in the home stretch with the majority of the work on that. Right now they're just connecting venting and piping and electrical things. The reverse osmosis system has been installed. We're just waiting on the installation of the heat exchanger cartridge, but that is nearing completion, that entire project, in time for heating season. Garage cleaning happened while I was gone. This for the south garage. That seemed to have gone very well. We did not have to pay for it to be redone. I was just down there, took a look at it with Michael, and seemed like a pretty good job was done on that. The exterior facade and repairs or replacement, all options for repair or replacement continue to be evaluated extensively by the property committee. And as I've mentioned before, the property committee has commissioned 3 groups to assist the property committee as a whole to help the committee in its process to arrive at a recommendation to the board for the repair or the replacement of the building facade. A meeting is being held also tomorrow with Encompass Engineering to have additional questions answered about that project. So I don't have anything else to add about that at this time. The new boardroom renovation is almost complete. The table base did arrive shortly before I went on vacation. That was put in. The monitor is either being put up today or tomorrow or so. Really about the only thing left in there is to get the old cabinet replaced that was taken out, the one that had the sink in it. And at that point, short of having some artwork put up in the room, perhaps Minnehaha Falls or something like that to enhance the look of the boardroom, that project is just about done. The York Room chilled water pipes project replacement really, is done. Michael and his team, as well as our vendor, did a fabulous job on that. There wasn't too much disruption. Anybody who eats in the York Room would have seen some temporary air conditioning units in there that kept the York Room cool. They weren't too noisy. Those have been taken out, and that will be paid for from reserve funds, from planned reserve savings. The annual inspection for the ninth floor takes place on Tuesday, September 1, so a couple of weeks from now. So those are the main things that I have for maintenance and so forth. So I'm going to ask Michael to come up, and if he has something to share. Otherwise, he and I are prepared to take any questions that members might have.
Hello. I don't really have too much to add to what Mitch just stated, so I'll take questions. I know there's always questions about certain projects. Anybody have anything in the back?
Do we have a, we do. We'll wait for the mic.
The water leak was due to? Was it something that should be looked at in other places? Are we going to have more water leaks or what?
Question revolves around the 8th floor water leak that was from a sprinkler head that let go. And that was an original sprinkler head installed when the building was built. So we do have a planned project to go through and replace the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, the 6th, and the 5th floor sprinkler heads. You don't necessarily have to go through and replace sprinkler heads that are original. But it's a lot cheaper to replace old sprinkler heads than it is to pay for putting 8 floors back together. Up front here.
That's a great question. Thank you.
So we're going to err on the side of caution on that and replace anyways.
I'm curious about, you say that it was old, but why would it being old mean that it would let loose?
I can't answer that. I can just show you the sprinkler head and it's in pieces on my desk and you can find your own answer.
Might it be rusty? Is that,
No,
oh,
no.
I could give a flippant answer to that question.
There's just,
I'm old and I have things that are letting go.
yeah, there's just nothing that showed why it let go, but it did.
I'm a curious person, and I would just like to know the sequencing of things. The sprinkler head broke. And is it minutes before the alarm system starts to go off and then the fire truck comes? And who turns off the water?
Okay, so 3 questions. Again, one at a time.
The first one was when the sprinkler head breaks off, is it the coursing of the water that turns on
Yes, it
the
is.
alarm?
It's water flow that sets the alarm off.
And then the nearest fire department comes?
It goes right to the fire department, correct.
And are they the ones who turn it off?
They can be, but we were this time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about that or other maintenance things going on around the building?
As a safety issue, how were some of the older residents dealt with in the evacuation? Because I noticed some very unstable people trying to get off of the 8th floor, and I didn't see, even the firemen were just walking right by them, which I thought was pretty cruel.
Well, it was determined that there's no life emergency. So it wasn't a fire, it was just an active water leak.
So I can help answer that, and it's something that I'm prepared to mention a little bit later when I talk about the emergency response plan, and you've probably heard me talk about that before. Anytime you do hear the fire alarm go off, the protocol is to evacuate the building. Your question is there are members who have difficulty in evacuating, and at a time when the alarm was going off, there's uncertainty, but there was a point in time where it was determined by the fire department that there wasn't a life-threatening emergency. So anybody who is not able to evacuate should shelter in place. Now, I understand some units are being flooded with water, and that may either not be possible or be difficult to do. Things don't always work perfectly, but certainly if there was a life-threatening fire emergency or some other life-threatening emergency, I'm sure that the fire department would have assisted members who were having difficulty.
How long was it before the fire department determined that there was no fire and the alarm stopped going off? Because it seemed to be a long time.
It wasn't the fire department that determined it, it was my staff. It was actually security that found the broken sprinkler head. And once they radioed me to let me know it was a broken sprinkler head, I sent Brent downstairs and he turned off the system. And then I turned off the alarm.
Do we know how long that was?
My stopwatch is not going in a situation like that.
My question is, just to finish that gentleman's question, how would we know if it's life-threatening or not?
Always the one call. I mean, Jake was very good on putting out a lot of info for that. Certainly you would have got something there if there was something that evolved that was worse.
But I will just add to that, if the alarm is going off and until it stops, members should evacuate the building. If they can't evacuate the building, they should shelter in place. I understand if some units are being flooded, that's a gray area there. But if the alarm is going off, members are sheltering in place, they need to be calling 911. 911 will be the ones to update them about the emergency situation along with our own one-call communication.
One other question about what Nan had asked, just kind of the sequence of some idea of when the sprinkler has to be replaced. I think we're all kind of living in fear of another one popping off.
I'm sorry.
I didn't quite hear.
Oh, can you give us an idea of when the process will start to replace the sprinkler heads?
As soon as the board signs off on it.
Well, they're meeting tomorrow.
Hi, Michael. Will our insurance pay for this? Pay for the repairs that are going to have to be done?
I'll let Mitch answer that.
Are you referring about the property insurance? That is yet to be determined. I mean, if the cost of the repairs was to exceed the deductible, then the board will have a decision to weigh whether it makes more sense to pay out of pocket or to file a claim. We don't have any idea yet how much those costs are. I will say that when this happened, I'm getting reverb. I will say that when this happened a couple of years ago, the deductible for a water event was $50,000. The total repairs were somewhere around $90,000, somewhere in that area. And the board decided not to file a claim because the additional amount of $40,000 above the deductible that the cooperative was liable for was far less than what the increase in premiums would have been over the next 5 years. And we estimated that the increase in premiums over the next 5 years would have probably been in the neighborhood of $250,000 cumulatively over those 5 years. So it made more sense to just pay it out of pocket. I'm sure that with the assistance of management and the board's evaluation of the information, they'll make it be weighing it and making the same or determining what they will do in this situation.
And our insurance premiums now, our deductible has gone up for any water loss to $100,000.
Yeah.
Question on policy. during that event, there were some people who used the elevators. I thought it was our policy that the elevators were shut off when the alarms were going. And that there were people using the elevators. So what is the policy? Is it going to be totally that the elevators are shut off, or are we not going
It's
to know?
It's not a policy. The elevators in a fire emergency are able to come down. They don't get shut off.
It's automatic,
It's automatic,
Okay.
yep.
right. They can't go back up again. When the alarms go off, the elevator cabs come down and stop. Yes.
Last Thursday, there was a knock on my door, and a very friendly man introduced himself as Josh, and he had a spindle of linoleum. And he said, I'm here to measure and for you to choose what you would like on your floor. And I can't believe that I didn't ask him, is this on me or is this on the co-op? It just sounded from the words that he used that he was sent out to my unit to find out what I wanted. And I did have some water, and probably my linoleum would have buckled or something. But I'm just curious. The bottom line is this going to be on my condo insurance policy? And if so, the deductible is kind of large, so it'll be an out-of-pocket?
And the answer to that is it depends. And so for all of you who had flooring issues where a replacement is necessary, a communication went out today to all of you. If you didn't receive one and you did have flooring that is being replaced, there is a meeting tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the 3:30. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jerry. 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, so I can answer all of those types of questions, because there's various answers to different questions depending on what your situation is. And I didn't want to, it would take a lot of time to answer those types of questions in this meeting. So tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 in the new boardroom on the second floor, the old Stop and Shop.
Can we get some idea when all of the baseboards and such will be put back? When
No.
all of the stuff that was taken out to dry is
We're
going to get put back?
we're working on it, and it's day to day. I don't have a contractor. I haven't brought my contractor in yet. Baseboard's the absolute last thing, because especially if you've got flooring that has to be replaced or even put back down, your baseboard and your trim are the very last things to worry about. No more? All right. Well, thank
Okay.
you.
Well, thank you very much for your questions. Thanks, Michael, for being here to take those questions. And if you think of any more in the meantime, for the rest of the meeting, I will be here, of course, at the end. Jake should be in here shortly, but I'm going to go ahead with some of the other updates that I have. Just want to let everybody know that the update of the member guide is finished. It's been a long process to do that. It's gone through a lot of scrutiny by both staff and board members. And so there have been a lot of updates. I wouldn't say there's any major things, just sometimes things, names of things change, maybe a process or something changes a little bit. But this has been posted on the member portal, and we don't copy these and distribute to everybody, but we will make copies of these available in the office. So starting tomorrow, if you want a personal copy, a printed copy of the member guide, you can get those from the office starting tomorrow with Holly. I always want to, and will continue going forward, remind members of the emergency response plan that has been available to members for a year, the better part of a year, since LaDamian worked on putting it together with the help of other staff and the fire department. It underwent some updates, especially since the time when we had Fire Marshal Dave here to give a presentation on fire emergency protocol. If anybody doesn't have one of these, I encourage you to pick one up from the office. You can request these from Holly as well. And I do want to take the opportunity to encourage everybody, every management meeting that we have, to review this. It would be a best practice for members to have this hanging on your refrigerator with a magnet, and at least once a month, take it down, read through it, look at the map on the back, find out where your unit is on here, where the evacuation path is, where the safe gathering area is for your part of the building. And really important that a lot of work went into putting this together, and we want this to be an important resource for members. Any questions about that? I thought I saw Jake come in here.
Yep, he'll be back in a sec.
And he ducked out, so I'm going to continue on here. Pie Day next week. Coconut cream pie day. That's my absolute favorite pie, and I try not to eat pie. But if you see me eating a piece of pie that day, don't judge. One thing that is being worked on as a part of the overall process of budgeting for the cooperative is going through the reserve study. Every year since I have been here, I have asked for the board to approve doing an update to the reserve study. And again, the reserve study, for anybody here who might be new and not yet heard about what the reserve study and what the purpose is. Basically, the reserve study is a plan to save, to fund all of the significant replacements throughout the entire cooperative, whether it's the roof or the rooftop units or redecorating of a room or the lobby and balcony, whatever it might be. That's what the reserve study is for. It's a savings plan and a schedule of replacements for the cooperative. And for the past few years, I have sat down with Michael as well as the property committee chair to go through this line by line by line. It is very tedious work to go through this, but it's very important to have this up to date so that we can make sure as much as possible that the cooperative is saving properly for major replacements going forward. I am meeting with our advisor from Reserve Advisors, which is the firm that we use to do the update and to give us the funding requirements or the funding, let me give you the exact title of it, the reserve funding plan, how much the cooperative should be putting into their reserve accounts each year, each month. And that is a part of the operating budget. So very important work that gets done there. And before I go on to anything else, I'm going to ask Jake to come up and present his, and then I'll continue on when Jake is finished. Well, Jake is going to be hooking things up there, so let me just continue on here a little bit. I did mention when I was talking about the reserve study about budgeting. I am continuing to work on the budget. I mentioned that last management meeting as well, and in one sense, I started in January of this year. I played around with it just a little bit. If you're a numbers guy like I am, messing around with numbers can be kind of fun. But it's serious business. It takes a lot of hard work to put together the operating budget for the property here. And it goes with a lot of input from committees, members, vendors, other staff to do that. And I will be having a follow-up meeting. I sent out an email, I think yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, to the committee leadership. I'll be having a follow-up meeting with them on September 1. That's the 9:30 meeting. To see if they have any further questions. And then I will be scheduling another meeting soon with the budget oversight group. And again, that group is 3 board members and the property committee chair and the finance committee chair, so I can present to them my progress along the way so that there aren't any surprises or as few surprises as possible when it gets down to the end of the budget process.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for everybody's patience. There's always something happening. So I apologize for my delay. I was dealing with something else. Hopefully we can just get through this really quick. So I wanted to talk to everybody about communication. I think we had a lot of good communication during this most recent Sprinkler Head event. Again, I want to thank security. I want to thank everybody who was involved in helping facilitate our response to that. I think it was very well done. So again, security, maintenance, housekeeping, sales and marketing, turnover, admin staff, even the York Room staff helped in some way. I don't know why we're getting double images right now. Let me unplug and replug. So I just want to thank everybody who helped with that, including members. But what kind of came to my mind with a lot of different feedback that I received during that event is communication. Something we're always talking about. We're probably sick of talking about it, right? But I wanted to kind of point out what the chain of communication is for 7500 York. We're going to create a handout that's, thank you for Hannah for suggesting this. We're going to make a handout that's on a piece of 3-hole punch paper for everybody to keep and put in their binder for the directory to remind you how communication is done here now with all the advancements in technology to help you reference where to look for things so you can be informed. So our first step is York TV, right? Each morning, 9 a.m., we get up, we read different announcements. We try to let you know everything that is going on each and every day. And with things being phased out with channel insertion, a lot of people use, what's the next thing you think you might use if you can't get York TV? Linda? YouTube, yes. The broadcast will be uploaded to YouTube, hopefully within the next 15, 20 minutes of the broadcast being over. We can upload that up to YouTube, which is basically just a rebroadcast of the announcements, so hopefully people will watch that. The next step in our chain of communication is One Call Now. That's where you receive texts, emails, and phone calls with recordings to help you keep informed of what's happening as well. And then our last thing, I will say that Mitch uses this the most to give really detailed updates about different things, is MailChimp. Everybody's email is loaded into this database so you can receive updates regarding the different things that are happening. If you remember, you received a lot of updates about the waterproofing project and the progression of that through MailChimp with lots of detail. So that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a chain of communication where you can look at any one of these things and be able to keep apprised of what's going on. And specifically with YouTube, I wanted to demonstrate for you is we have a slideshow on YouTube of basically the same slides that we have on the York TV on YouTube, so you could actually watch that video, that scroll that's posted on the member portal as well, and see the different announcements that are on the York TV scroll. So essentially what we're attempting to do is facilitate communication in every which way that we can so members can be informed, because a lot goes on here, right? Garage cleanings, member certificate audits, changes to different processes, different procedures. So we're just trying to keep you informed at all times. Is there any questions about communication, any feedback you'd like to offer of things we could do better to communicate with you as a membership? Shirley? There's a microphone coming.
If I want to get on YouTube, do you say YouTube and then say York TV, or what do you do?
If you go onto YouTube, you just type 7500 York, our channel will come up, and then you can see the different videos that are on the channel.
Thank you.
That's how you do it. That's all it is, Marlene. That's how you do it. Any other questions? Dave Price, if we can get the microphone down here. It's on its way, Dave.
That's how you keep me quiet, is don't give me a microphone. I think on the portal you can also watch those.
Yes, so the portal has direct links to the daily update as well as the York TV slides to make it even easier. If you don't want to use YouTube, you can just go to the member portal. Any other questions or comments, feedback? Well, thank you. And this is the perfect slide to stop at, because the next thing I have to talk about is the fob pickup. So September 3rd, September 4th, we are going to be working on the conversion process of moving towards fobs versus keys. So on September 3rd, we do have a schedule of floors for people to come and bring their e-key to exchange for their fob. If you cannot make September 3rd or September 4th work, you can come another day to the office to see Holly or myself, and we will be able to work through the conversion in the office. But we will be stationed September 3rd, September 4th in the fitness room. You will test your fob on the fitness panel to make sure that your fob works, and then you will get a copy of the fob policy and then sign off that you've received the policy and the fob. Are there any questions regarding this? I've gotten a lot over email, and I've gotten a lot in person, so I'm happy to take more now. Oh, there's a microphone coming.
Oh, does the fob have a battery?
It does not have a battery.
Okay, thank you.
Down here, please, Don, thank you.
Can we order 2 fobs? Like people like me who locked their purse in the trunk and had no keys. Is it good to have
Everyone,
an extra
every
one?
unit will receive 2 fobs. Any other questions? Yes, 1 second for the microphone to come down. She has a question. Bernice.
I just wanted to know whether I can give one to my son.
The answer to that question is you should not give one to your son. They are for members only.
Yes, and to go a little bit deeper into that, if you don't mind my indulgence, Mitch, is I understand sometimes it's out of convenience, you may want to give it to your children so they could come through the exterior door that's closest to you. But the preference of, I would say the policy and the way that it's written and what we want for a secure building as a community is you guys are investing a lot of money in 24-hour security, are we not? A significant amount of money. So in order to actually leverage that amenity that you're investing all that money into, you would want to retain those fobs for yourself because we have 24-hour access here that's controlled. So your kids can come see you at any time through the main access way and sign in. So we want to make security's job, really mean something, and that's why we want to maintain you having those fobs and your family using the front entrance and signing in. Because then your security department really means something. Right? I think we can all agree that we want that to mean something.
Could you just briefly go through that schedule? I couldn't read it from here, or what days for what
Yes,
floors.
for sure. So on the 3rd, hopefully it comes back here, the 1st and 2nd floor will be 9 to 10. The 3rd and 4th floor will be 10 to 11. The 5th and 6th floor will be 11 to noon, and then we'll break for lunch. And the 7th and 8th floor will be 1:30 to 2:30, and the 9th floor will be 3 to 4:30. If you can't make those windows work, you can come outside your window. You can come on the 4th, and if you can't make either of those days work, next week you can just come to the office and we'll go ahead and facilitate that exchange. Just trying to make it organized in the beginning, and then we'll work through it the rest of the days. Any other questions? Well, thank you for your time and attention. I'll leave you now with Mitch. You guys have a great rest of your meeting, and I appreciate your time.
Okay, before I go any further with any questions, I wanted to address these pictures that were up around the property, I understand, I think on Friday. And I was able to collect a significant amount of them. So I do have a Sharpie here, and these I can autograph. They are suitable for framing or darts, and $50 a piece. Just let me know. Yes, they are a limited edition. So am I. I am one of a kind. All right. Well, I don't have too much more here, but I do have something more here. I do want to remind everybody that while you are away, even if you are away only for one night, to please let security know. It's very important with the flipper system that we have here. If the flippers go up at night and the flippers aren't down the next day and you're away and security doesn't know, they're going to be giving a phone call to your unit. They're going to be knocking at your door. So we just want to make sure that we know that you are away while you're away. HO6 declaration policies are still needed in the office every time because, unfortunately, everybody's insurance expires every year, and it's renewed every year, or you're supposed to renew it every year. And so when you have given a declaration to the office at some point in time, that declaration also expires along with your insurance when it expires each year. So you need to make sure that you are turning in your insurance declaration when you renew your insurance. And I think some flyers are going out about that. I saw them with Holly in the office. So if you have any questions about that, please ask me. You can ask Holly. You can ask Jake. We're all pretty familiar with insurance, HO6 policies, declarations, and all of that. And when we have a significant water event or some other event where there is damage to members' units, your HO6 policy being in effect and up to date is ever more important. It's one reason why it was put into the bylaws a couple of years ago as a requirement, and why we as management do our responsibility, our due diligence to make sure, excuse me, that members are turning in evidence of you having that insurance, which is your declaration. The next month's management meeting is on Wednesday, September 16 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's all the announcements that I have for today. I've never finished early before. Anybody complaining about that? We do have some time for any more questions. I think a lot have been asked and answered already. But unless there are any more questions, we will wrap things up early today. All right, have a good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Don, you got your steps.
Appreciate your questions.
I was going to help you out. The guys were
I knew I couldn't rely on
That's for darn sure.
I mean, I thought that the microphone.
He mentioned that